When you watch a boxing pay-per-view every other week, you get used to all the violence. But every once in a while, we get to see a knockout that makes all of us leave our seats, spill our drinks, and scream at the top of our lungs. Well, we got all that and more last week when John Ramirez sent his opponent flying out of the ring after landing a beautiful shot. A one-punch KO, it's as perfect as it gets. So let's get into it. First up, a new knockout of the year contender. When you send your opponent flying out of the ring, it'll be hard for anyone else to top that. The undefeated John "Scrappy" Ramirez took on Jan Salvatierra for the NABA super featherweight belt last Saturday. The fight ended in the very first round in the most violent fashion that you could imagine. After having a slow start in the first round, Ramirez started rushing his opponent to try to make him move back. After a flurry, Scrappy landed the signature straight right hand on the button and it was lights out. Salvatierra couldn't keep his unconscious body from falling outside the ring and went headfirst toward the canvas. Fortunately for Jan, there was a cameraman filming right there where he fell who was able to catch him and protect his head from any more damage. Shout out to that guy. The most weird thing about the fight was that the referee didn't call it even after Salvatierra went down hard. He continued his count to 10, and we got to see the display of Mexican toughness by Jan, who made his way back to the ring. He couldn't answer the referee in time, and the fight was officially over. No one would have wanted to see Jan continue to fight after taking that kind of blow to the head. Sometimes the fighters have to be saved from themselves. The reaction to the KO was just as wild as you'd expect, as we got to see the people in attendance lose their minds over what they saw. There was some concern for Jan, as he looked like he suffered a concussion and didn't know where he was. Many fans were bold enough to call it the KO of the year, showering their praise for Ramirez. If you want to get viral and get everyone's attention, you need to have a finish like this. Scrappy went on to say that he didn't think Salvatierra should have been in there with him. He thought he was levels above his opponent. Can't really argue with that after seeing the result. Ramirez thinks Jan made a mistake and he had to pay. Kinda sad to see someone get kicked when they're down, but you do you, Scrappy. Many people also talked about how the rings in major boxing events are too high and it's highly dangerous, but that's a separate topic for another video. Next, we have Salvatierra's unfortunate fate. The 22-year-old suffered the second loss of his career at the hands of an undefeated prospect. Salvatierra was looking to take his career in a different direction by bouncing back after suffering his first career loss at the hands of Fernando Diaz. It's always interesting to see how an undefeated fighter who finally falls short reacts to a loss. Many fighters lose their motivation and their aura of invincibility. After suffering a devastating KO for the first time, you're never the same man, not to mention the countless keyboard warriors who will continue to go after you for years to come. It's a rough place to be in, and it's even harder to get out. It's like Goldberg said, so you want to be a fighter? Jan showed the real Mexican heart and toughness by beating Ernie Marquez via TKO. Seemed like things were getting back on track until he ran into Ramirez, and we all saw what happened. It's hard not to feel for the guy. Then again, he's only 22 and suffered the worst possible thing that could happen. From here on out, he's got nowhere to go but up. Let's just hope he finds his confidence again, and we get to see him make a comeback while looking better than ever. Who wouldn't love to see that happen? So what's next for Scrappy? With a perfect record of 10-0, Ramirez is sitting pretty on his throne as the NABA super featherweight champion. He's undefeated, he knocks people out, and he talks a lot of trash. Don't know about you, but it seems like he's got all the qualities of a megastar. Immediately after the fight, Scrappy made sure to call out every single belt holder in his weight class. He wants to stay active and fight the best. How could you not respect that? There's a confidence that comes with being undefeated that other fighters may not understand. But if you've followed the sport of boxing for a while, you know how political it can get. The managers and promoters are always trying to protect their athletes from unfavorable matchups. You don't face a real threat till you're almost 20-0. This doesn't seem to apply to Ramirez. He's as game as they come. He wants to be thrown to the wolves. Immediately after the KO, Ramirez took the mic and went after the super featherweight champ of WBC, Jesse Rodriguez. He said he wants to fight the best competition that's available, called out the boxing tradition of ducking a threat. He said, "How could you be the best if you're not facing the best?" He went on to take a line from a fellow loudmouth, the notorious Conor McGregor, saying he's not here to take part, he's here to take over. One thing's for sure, he earns his nickname Scrappy. Whether it's his fighting style or his mentality, the guy just wants to scrap. Looks like the next fight to make is for the WBC title. But after delivering a KO of the year, who wouldn't want to fight the guy? Perhaps we could see a move up to lightweight and he could get the money fight against Ryan Garcia. The options are open for this young man. Now, in other related news, Caleb Plant talks about the Canelo upset. Ever since the pound-for-pound king lost for the second time in his career, everyone's had something to say about it. We've seen people jump off the bandwagon, claiming he was never as good as they thought he was, while others thought he just flew too close to the sun. Caleb Plant was the last guy to suffer a loss by the hands of Saul Alvarez. In a recent tweet, he advised his former opponent to keep his head high, make no excuses, and try to get it back by working working harder than ever. Encouraging words by a man who knows what it's like to be in there with him. Seems like a rematch is in the makings. Canelo has a lot of adjustments to make going into the second fight, as we saw him get outboxed and beaten in his own game. The head movement was on point, but he was just taking shots while standing there. Does he have what it takes to conquer the beast of an opponent called Dimitri Bivol? Let us know your predictions in the comments. Is an Ngannou versus Fury match in the works? The entire fan base of the combat sports world is united to see Francis Ngannou take on Tyson Fury in a super fight for the ages. We all expect an easy win for Fury, but it'd be nice to see Ngannou get a big payday after all the years of being mistreated by the UFC. Francis's story is one of the most inspiring rags to riches tales you'll ever see. From living in the trenches of child labor and lack of basic necessities of life, he got out and worked hard to live the dream. It'd be unfair if he never got the chance to compete in a big boxing pay-per-view, which is what he set out to do when he began this journey. We can't see any moving parts right now, but it looks like Ngannou will ride out his UFC contract, which will expire by the end of the year. When asked about his future, Francis said he wanted to stay with the UFC as long as they were willing to cross-promote and let him compete against Tyson Fury. Doesn't seem like a lot to ask, especially since it's been done already for Conor McGregor back in 2016. Seems like being the heavyweight champion of the world doesn't give you all the privileges. Logan Paul making a return to the ring? In a recent edition of the Impulsive podcast, Logan was asked about whether he'll step into the ring again or not. His response was a definite yes. The last time we saw the older Paul brother box was in an exhibition against Floyd Mayweather. Logan hasn't won a match so far, and he wants to change that desperately. He even said he'd be open to fighting his brother Jake if it made sense. As dark as that may sound, people would actually tune in to watch the two beat the crap out of one another. Would you like to see Logan box again? Or maybe make a transition into MMA? Sounds like Paddy the Baddy isn't so out of reach. We'll be waiting to see if that one's real. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think about this great KO? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.